All right, I don't know when I'm supposed to come in on this. Welcome back to Late Night Lately. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Listen, there was a lot of news last week, and I've got a monologue, so let's get right to it. Let me move the thing so it looks like I'm actually looking at you. Former CEO of cryptocurrency exchange FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, appeared in court for the second week in a row last week alongside his ex-girlfriend and ex-CEO of Alameda, Caroline Ellison, who testified against him over the course of 3 days. Now, during said testimony, Ellison stated that Bankman-Fried's poorly taken care of hair and lax wardrobe were all part of a PR move to make him appear to be an eccentric entrepreneur. Anyone who thinks that this guy could be an eccentric billionaire would probably need their eyes checked. There are African princes scamming your grandmothers right now that look more like billionaires than he does. Looks like a failed Muppet. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced last week that he'd be switching from the Democratic ballot to independent for his 2024 campaign for president, saying in a campaign speech, quote, "The Democrats are frightened that I'm going to spoil the election for President Biden, and the Republicans are frightened that I'm going to spoil it for Trump. RFK, the only thing you're spoiling is the outcome of this election. Spoiler alert, you lost. Also, Bruce Willis was dead the whole movie." GOP Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana was nominated as the Speaker of the House last week, only to drop his own nomination due to lack of votes within his own party. Then Ohio Representative Jim Jordan name was thrown into the discussion, both in closed-door meetings with Republicans. And, gee, how bad must it feel for all of these guys, including Kevin McCarthy, who can't seem to drum up any support from their own party? It's like being drafted to the New York Jets as a quarterback, but being benched in week 2 of the 2023 season. No. I think we'll be just fine without Aaron. You said tight, Scalise and Jordan. Our quarterback situation is just all right. And finally, Meta's Twitter competitor Threads added an edit button, a much requested feature for anyone who accidentally posts a thread. Oh God, I thought this was an Instagram. Who's the person? That was a monologue. Who's the person that's going to Threads? Who checks Threads? You know, there's a story last week, episode 11, Late Night Lately. There was a story last week about NPR. They left Twitter when Elon Musk bought it. And I mean, due to a lot of circumstances, but they left Twitter, and the story is that they lost 1% of traffic, and it wasn't that much. That's not, and like that's nothing. That's nothing. That means the people who go to NPR are the people who read NPR. They're not coming from Twitter, and maybe sure a big story about an indictment or 2 or 4 would have been an amazing bounce of traffic for them, but losing 1%, I mean, come on. You lose $1 out of $100, that means nothing. Still got $99. All right, this week in Late Night, there were a few different things that happened. I have to find, it doesn't matter how big the screen is, apparently. I have a big curved monitor. I still can't find room for this Notion page to live. So let me just do this. Boom, boom. There we go. Now it looks, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Let me mute the computer. This week in Late Night, we saw a whole plethora of Late Night's back. We're back in Late Night. I don't know what I was going to say before, but we're back in Late Night. We're in the whole drum of things and the swing of things. I was concerned about, not worried, nothing else. I was just concerned about how Late Night would be affected without having actors come on and talk about their projects. And now, I mean, actors, I don't know if they can appear, but I believe they can. I wasn't really paying attention. But I think that they can do things as long as they don't talk about their projects. It's the same thing with podcasts. They can go on a podcast, but they can't talk about, the new season of Princess Diana. What's that called? The Crown. Anyway, now with that being said, I think that this new iteration of Late Night, as we wait for the SAG strike to end. And with the WGA strike being over, and with the director strike like having not even barely happened, but it needed to. There's going to be a lot more people talking to comedians, people talking to musicians, or music people in general. But we're also going to see some behind the scenes people. And now, case in point, Jason Blum, the producer from Blumhouse, appeared on Late Night with Seth Meyers last week, and he talked about Five Nights at Freddy's. He talked about The Exorcist Believer. The Exorcist Believers is Believers actually is no Believers. Exorcist Believers is a sequel because it's funnier. It's a sequel to Justin Bieber's Believer movie, which I do believe. I think I have it. Hold on, give me a second. Oh no! I don't have that movie. I I'm not kidding. I actually do have that movie right here. There's I work for a big company with three names, Warner Bros. Discovery, and there was a point where they're currently in the midst of moving out of CNN Center. CNN is currently in the midst of moving out CNN Center over to the Turner Building, and I was gonna say way more things, but then I was like, this is boring. No one cares. But people have accumulated crap over their decades of working for this company, and I've already seen it happen with Cartoon Network. I got just a bunch of things for free that they were just giving away. Aero presses, I might have gotten 5 of those. Gave away 4 for gifts. Toys, movies, video games, all that stuff. Books, DVDs, Blu-rays. And unfortunately, I got all of Adventure Time. Unfortunately, the last 3 seasons, I believe, are on DVD and not Blu-ray. Anyway, but people were giving that away, and I got it for somebody who does not watch this show, does not listen to this show. I held up Justin Bieber's Never Say Never if you're listening on Blu-ray. So I got it for this person. So hopefully they'll enjoy it. Anyway, Jason Blum came to Late Night to talk about it. And I was so interested in the fact that this producer, who people will only know by name, and I'm talking about people who watch movies, because there's no way you would know who Judd Apatow is unless you consistently watch a movie. You go, hey, I love King of Staten Island. I love the 40-year-old Virgin. I love Superbad, Knocked Up. All movies starring white men. So that would make it would make sense now as to why we can't have a lot of actors on, but we can have this producer. And so he had a conversation about those movies and Taylor Swift for some reason. And then also how he's a shark on Shark Tank, which I don't think I knew. Interesting. And then, speaking of Late Night, we also have Marcelo Hernandez popping up for the first time ever. This is his first Late Night appearance. And I think this is just he came out in a tuxedo, in a white tuxedo with wine. It's so funny. It's just so funny. It's just so funny. And he gave Seth a... what are those things that you give on like prom night? The flowers. Oh God, what is it called? Anyway, doesn't matter. It was very funny. He looked great. His mom was there, and it was just a wonderful conversation. I think Marcelo is. I said this to myself we're about 9 minutes into the show. I said this to myself about 10 minutes ago. Marcelo is going to be the next big thing. Love him. He's a very funny guy, and I wish him all the best. He's just so fantastic. He's so fantastic, and I'm glad a person of color has a chance to excel. Although I do wish Melissa Villaseñor was on Colbert, and I do wish that they were able, that SNL and Melissa were able to work something out. I know she admitted to being a very stressful part of her life, as do a lot of people. A lot of people, I think Adie Bryant said the same thing. I think Cecily might have said the same thing. Don't quote me on Cecily, but I know Adie Bryant said something along those lines. Yeah, it's a stressful place, it's a stressful environment, and I do not blame anybody who kind of gets their tenure and gets out for all intents and purposes. I wonder why people, like, sometimes people are there. I wonder why people get let go is basically what I'm getting at. Because some people, they reach their, I think it's like a 7-year contract. Don't quote me on that. I think you either get a 4 or 7 or they just re-up you, whatever. But, however long your contract is after you make it to repertory status. I wonder, if some people are going, I want to get my 7 years and then go. And then there's other people who are working just as hard, but they often get let go. Because I think Alex Moffat was one of those people, and he's so funny. He's just a funny character actor on that show. I just wonder why. I don't know why we're talking about late night. I still haven't seen the new SNL. I was everything was ruined for me the next morning because also I've been working. But anyway. The next up, we have Nelson Franklin. He brings his George Santos back to Jimmy Kimmel Live in a very funny, just what I write as like elaborate escape route bit that involves with him just going all over the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio. And I just please do not eat that. Please do not eat this. Now Nova's being the one who's annoying this week when I'm trying to record things. And it's I think the George Santos stuff is very fun. I mean, it's a lot like oh God, who is that woman? That what is the show called? Okay, this is so bad. Laura Benatti. Laura Benatti is always appeared on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert as Melania Trump. And I think it's just great casting on both fronts with Nelson Franklin as George Santos and because Nelson Franklin really does look like George Santos. If you don't know who Nelson Franklin is, he's just as I'm gonna ruin. I mean, the show's been over for like 10 years. Cece dated him for a little bit after Schmidt, and he's the tall white guy with glasses, like thick black glasses. And then Jess tried to date him, I guess, and then turns out they're cousins, I think. And then he was on Veep as Dan Backdahl's punching bag. Okay. Then Senator John Fetterman came by the Late Show to talk. Is it Late Show, Stephen Colbert? Yeah, to talk about his depression, his experience with that, and therapy, and just talking about what it is being a senator. And he's such a down to earth person, and I really do like him. And he's very smart, and it's a shame that it's funny because you'll see, like, if you pay enough attention to the news, you'll see like Republicans making fun of Fetterman for his health woes. And then, but like these are serious health woes. But God forbid you say something about people on their side, and then they'll send you, death threats or whatever. And then finally, Seth Meyers stopped by Fallon's Tonight Show to talk about podcasting with Fallon, his old Strike Force buddy, Lightning Bolt. And they talked about an infamous episode of the show where Fallon asked the wives of Strike Force 5 questions. And podcasts in general. And those are the things that happened this week. Now, I don't really have much of anything to say, as evidenced by being 14 minutes in and me being done with everything I've already wanted to talk about. God, how sad is that? It's been a minute since I've done this show, so give me a chance. That's why the monologue wasn't very good. That's why I'm sweating. No, I'm not sweating. It's very chilly outside. No, it's not chilly enough. Okay, now I've always wanted to know this, and I can't quite put a finger on it, but we are in a day and age of television when where the TV is not really, new TV shows is not really airing on a Friday night. Now save for shows like, I think NBC's Blacklist aired on Friday nights. A lot of the last seasons of a lot of CW shows aired on Friday nights, and I'm talking about within the past 10 years or so. Shows like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend aired on Fridays. Unfortunately, Jane the Virgin aired on Fridays. Unfortunately, I mean, it just sucks that they relegated those shows to the bottom of the week. But now we're in a late night. You know, there were times in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and now 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s when shows would air basically around Monday through Friday. And now if you want your show to do extremely well, besides who is that? Oh, it's Maverick. Besides streaming, if you want your show to do really well, you know, say on broadcast or on cable or what have you, then it would have to air Sunday through Thursday. We got The Simpsons on Sunday. We get, you know, Game of Thrones on Sunday. We get, new Magnum PI on Wednesdays and Law and Order on Thursdays. But what happened to Fridays? And Friday airings basically went away because there's more options for people to do things. Like, people are getting out more on Fridays. I mean, that's just a thing. Now, the reason I bring that up is because late night used to, we used to have Carson 5 days a week, Letterman 5 days a week, I believe. Jimmy Kimmel used to be live. And also that proved to be difficult. But why do late night shows choose to air, not all of them, but why do some shows choose to air Friday night shows still? The Tonight Show does Friday night shows. And worse yet, it's not like, I'm not saying that we need to put, we need a top line Monday with the best guests and then it depreciates over time. There should be some type of stopgap for popular people. You know, we have Kelly Clarkson appearing on a Friday night. All that whole ramble was a good vamp to get me to 17 minutes, but also to this point I'm trying to make. Is Kelly Clarkson appeared on, I'm pointing to the screen, appeared on The Tonight Show on Friday night along with Chloe Fineman and Heinrich Ludwig. Now, I don't know who Heinrich Ludwig is. I also know Chloe Fineman, I believe, she was definitely on Thursday, excuse me. They uploaded a video from that on today for some reason. I don't know why they do that. Don't do that. I know why they do that, for views. Don't do that. But Kelly Clarkson, who I would probably say out of last week is, besides Troye Sivan and Pete Davidson, is probably the biggest person that they talk to. No offense to Seth. And I think she's the most, universally liked out of all those people. Again, no offense to Seth. I love Seth. But Kelly Clarkson, she comes on the show. She's going to sing you a song. She's going to sit down for a conversation talking about her show and personal life, her kids, her music, all that stuff. Put her on a Thursday. Put her on somewhere where she can explode. Because I know it's all about ratings. What do you, like if you win a Friday night, who cares? Now, sometimes Colbert is on Friday nights. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. Let me go to Paramount Plus, and it's much easier to go on the iPad than to sit here and deal with going to the website. I'm typing now. I'm bouncing around. At this point, I'm typing in Stephen Colbert to the thing. Okay, I've hit search. Okay. From what I gather, it does not look like that was 3 days ago. 15, 14, 13. Okay, so he did do a Friday show. Was the 13th a Friday? Yeah, Friday 13th. Yeah. Okay, so he did do a Friday show, and that was Fetterman and Mulaney. Now, it doesn't make sense because those are the only shows that do. Did Kimmel do a Friday show? It looks like Kimmel also did a Friday show. Now, not these shows don't always do Friday shows. Is something that I've noticed, and I wonder what leads them to do so. Like, not if this is like if they get time off or anything, but I wonder if that is something that if they can get a good guest, because Kimmel, it looks like, had the Golden Bachelor and Josh Duhamel. Now, can they get, like, is there a way for them to be like, oh, we've got a good guest, and this is what we're going to have to, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a Friday show. I can't tell if Kimmel is a Friday. It doesn't have the date on Hulu. But what does it take for them to want to go through with airing a Friday show? Because this is when, and I know in the end, the only things that really matter are them posting to YouTube. I was thinking Instagram. Thinking about that Threads joke and how it killed. Audience was clapping it up. Also, I do want to say this. I'm not a huge fan of the recoloring rather, of Fallon's Tonight Show logo. It's pink, and I think it might be for breast cancer awareness, but it does not stand out, and I can't find it in the crowd. All that to say is I'm glad late night's back. I don't know why Friday shows exist. Because I don't like the way I watch late night is still along the contemporary way of how people watch things, how people used to watch things. In that I watch people watch late night the next morning or the next day or live or whatever. I watch it the next day. And I tend to go to YouTube TV, turn on the episode I've recorded, fast forward through the commercials, watch it then, and do it that way. It's not often I come. What I'm saying is, it's not often I come to YouTube to watch because I want to see if there's a guest in the A block, then I'm going to watch the monologue and the guest and enjoy my time. Or if Fallon plays a game I want to see, or if Kimmel has a whole episode dedicated to talking to Letterman or whomever. How do you watch? You dial us now. Call in. 404 comedy. What if I got that? What if I got that number? Hey, listen, if you like what you heard here, so quick to end the show. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you see me talking to your favorite comedians. You also watch a video version of this show on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, as well as our other podcasts. The Constitutionals podcast, the premier podcast for cpluscomedy.com, as well as LinkedIn Logs, the premier business podcast for cpluscomedy.com. You can subscribe to those wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also go to social media and follow us there. C Plus Comedy. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Me, Chad Black White. That is it for this episode of Late Night Lately. We'll catch you next time. Is that gonna be my new catchphrase? No, I don't like that.